Welcome to World Challenge 2008. Coming up in this programme, the Maasai women who are making designer jewellery for the world's boutiques. And the shantytown film school that's giving Brazilian street kids undreamt of opportunities. But first, a reminder of the website where you can vote for your favourite World Challenge finalist, theworldchallenge.co.uk. World Challenge 2008 features 12 enterprising businesses and projects from around the world. It's for you to choose which one you think is the most deserving of the World Challenge Cash Award. To the Maasai of East Africa, livestock is their wealth. In 2001, most of Kenya was hit hard by a prolonged drought, and the Maasai suffered more than most, with some communities losing as much as 3/4 of their cattle. In times of drought, the men and boys go ever farther afield to find pasture and water. It was a time of severe hardship for the children and women left behind in the manyatas, or temporary settlements. Their hardships moved Philip Leakey and his wife Katy to come up with an alternative source of income. They did it by turning the Maasai women into jewellers for the export market. The well-being of the herders of East Africa has always depended on their cattle. Disease and drought can destroy their fragile economy. With a rising human population and dwindling grazing land, future dry periods can only increase the hardships. The only answer is to lessen dependence on livestock, but how to do it without disrupting traditional lifestyles? Philip and Katy Leakey came up with the idea of remote workstations that allow the Maasai to work close to their manyatas. Philip is a former Kenyan MP and a son of Louis Leakey, who, with his wife Mary, made the Leakey name famous throughout the world for their discovery of remains and even footprints of our prehistoric ancestors in Kenya's Rift Valley. The name is now carried by their line of African-made jewellery, the Leakey Collection. World Challenge caught up with Philip and Katy Leakey on their way to one of their workstations.
My wife Katy and I, we live in southern Kenya amongst the Maasai people on the edge of the Rift Valley. And in the year 2000 and 2001, there was a really severe drought. And many of the Maasai people who are our neighbours were coming to look for support, for food, and we ended up feeding over 100 families. As a result, we tried to create something that would give them some work so that they had an income when there was another drought. And we started developing grass as beads made by the Maasai women here in Kenya, and it's now sold extensively across the world in over 20 countries, and creates work to anything up to 1,400 people, mostly women here in the southern part of Kenya.
They designed a range of jewellery and a production process using self-contained jewellery-making kits, each of which comes with all the materials needed to assemble 10 pieces of jewellery.
When we come out to a work site, we bring the kits from the workshop, and the kits all come in bags of 10 pieces of jewelry, 10 strands each kit. And the women come up and check out a kit. And once they check out their kit, they then come over here and sit on the ground, because this is where they're most comfortable for beading. They like to spread all the beads out into their lap rather than have it set in trays. When we first began, we thought, well, we'll set them up with trays and put them in tables and chairs, and they didn't want any of that. They just wanted to be able to bead like they've traditionally beaded for years. So they sit on the ground, and in their lap, they'll put the different piles of the different colors of beads, the grass and glass, and then they have checked out the elastic, which comes in the bag as well, and a needle. And they string each strand until they've finished with all 10 strands. And when they're through with the strands, what they do is they come back over here for quality control control. They check it back in. The strands are then given to the managers who take a look at it. They put the strands out onto the table and they check for any beads that might be cracked, that might have flaws in them. And they'll go ahead and take those out, and then they measure the length, and then they tie the Zulu grass. So it gets tied here at each individual work site. And then the woman gets a receipt for that, she signs in the book, and then she checks out another kit.
This innovative way of working allows the women to come and go as they please and earn as much or as little as time allows. The ultimate in flexi time.
So we try to design a system that doesn't interrupt the lifestyles of the Maasai people. We try to make our business fit their lifestyle rather than change their lifestyle to fit our business. And as a result, we find some women now able to string 100 strands in a day. When we started, they were stringing 8 or 9, and that was a stretch for them.
Although the working practices have been adapted to support the traditional lifestyle of the Maasai, the jewellery itself is far from traditional. The materials used and the designs have been specially chosen with the overseas market in mind. Though the Maasai are well known for their coloured bead jewellery, the main material for the Leakey collection is the chopped and dyed stems of an abundant grass, which until now the Maasai did not use.
Well, they thought working with grass was silly. They couldn't figure out why we'd want to work with grass. And their colors are very traditional in the red, blue, yellow, and white. Our colors are more for the global marketplace.
This stockist, who runs a shop in Chiswick in London, thinks the Leakeys have hit on the formula for success.
It's not only customers coming back saying how they love the product, but they're coming back to buy more for their friends. So it's a really positive response.
This product has been successful in the last 7 years. I think we now sell about 750,000 pieces a year. We get people from all over the world trying to find out the species of the grass and how we process it. So we try to keep some trade secrets to protect the interests of the people who are making it.
And for up to 1,400 Maasai people here on the edge of the Rift Valley, the jewellery provides an average of $100 a month per person. It's becoming a reliable and drought-resistant source of income.
If I have money, I can get food for my kids. Also, I can buy cattle and milk and pay school fees.
Philip and Katy say they designed the scheme to generate income without threatening the hierarchy of the herders. At one stage, they were worried they had incurred the hostility of the Moran, the male Maasai warriors.
In the beginning, we had trouble with the men not wanting the women to earn the money. That was the first. When we got past that hurdle, which was quite a funny story, we were driving down the road one day, Philip and I were coming back from Nairobi, and our car was surrounded by over 20 men, elders and Moran warriors. We thought, oh no, what's going to happen now? And they came to us and said, please bring the work back. We won't hassle the women anymore. They can keep their money. It's all for them. So that was a real move forward for us.
After being won over by the project, the men wanted to get involved, and the Leakeys found jobs suited to their skills.
I usually take inspiration from nature, things like that, and I'll go to Sabit with some color swatches or something and say, okay, can you come up with these colors in glazes or in grass colors, new dyes? And he'll go away and come back with it, and we'll see what works and what doesn't work, and then we sit down and start playing with it with the grass, and then start playing with it with the ceramic and the porcelain, but then it sort of builds upon itself, and it ends up being, oh gosh, I don't know, a month process, something like that, where we feed off it.
As well as sanding the wooden pendants, other Maasai men operate the gas-powered kiln used to fire porcelain. If it wins the World Challenge, the Leakey Collection hopes to become more self-reliant by installing a mini hydroelectric turbine.
This is the site where we want to put our micro hydroelectric scheme producing 50 to 60 kilowatts of power from this river. If we can put that in and produce that amount of power, it's only 200 to 300 meters away from our work site. from the factory. And the idea is if we could do that, we'll be able to create 200 to 300 more jobs. And so if we win this competition, the money from the prize money will go towards this micro hydroelectric scheme. It won't be the total amount, but it'll go a long way to supporting us.
Because the jewellery range helps the Maasai earn their own money, the Leakeys hope the business will continue to grow even without their direct involvement in the future.
What we were trying to do is to get away from giving people free handouts and giving them a reason to make a living for themselves. And I think once you do that and they see the results, it becomes a business, then they're going to carry on. It's going to be sustainable. We don't think that free handouts that NGOs give is sustainable.
What we've done is tried to create a model that can be used not only here in the Maasai land by Maasai, but anywhere in the world. So our big goal is to build a business school, an educational center here in Maasai land, and that would allow them the opportunity to come in and get special specific training in sustainable harvesting of raw materials, of local materials, in how to do the handicraft business or any other business, whether it happens to be in agriculture or something else that's sustainable and ecologically friendly, and then how to take that to market.
Remember, you have the chance to decide which World Challenge 2008 finalist is the most deserving. Your vote can help them win a cash prize. Visit theworldchallenge.co.uk and find out how you can cast your vote. Don't go away. In Part 2 of World Challenge 2008, focusing on the favelas, young filmmaking talent that's emerging from the slums of Brazil.